Now, the index on its own does not give you the access to, include a lookup value.
You've probably used VLOOKUP before, but the moment your table changes, everything breaks. Index and match is presenting you with a better chance. Hi, so you're welcome to the excerpts of our virtual data analysis class. This is a class on index and match, one of the techniques used in data analysis. Having said that, let's get into the video by solving a data problem using this approach.
Today, we are going to be talking about index and match. These functions can actually work on their own, but because of the unique, feature that they have, a very good feature, that's why you have them as a combination of both of them, right? Okay, so today we're going to be seeing the use cases even further by, I think we're going to be having 3 examples. All right, that will explain better how we can use the index and match. So we'll start with the first one. Then I will kind of explain what the index and match does. Now, the index on its own does not give you the access to, include a lookup value. That is one of the limitations. In fact, that is primarily why you have to, introduce the match. Now, when you call out, let's see something here. When you call out the index and match equals index, just index. Okay. Now let's see the arguments. You see the array, which is the first one here. You have the row number, and then you have the column number. And I said yesterday that in the argument of a function, if you see a square bracket covering an argument, it means that that argument is an optional argument. Which means, in other words, it means if you don't put this argument, if you don't write something to put it into use, it doesn't actually matter. The function will not throw an error. That's what it means. So don't be confused when you see arguments, inside bracket like this. Now, the array is like a mapping. When you say array in the sense of, index function, it's like a mapping. Just like we say, okay, search for this from this, table array. You have other functions that will call it table array and stuff like that, like the VLOOKUP, I guess, yes. And then the row number is, where the row, because it works like a cell reference function where you have the column and the row, meeting at a particular point. For instance, this F, if you say column F, row 2, that's F2, and that meets here. So that's how this whole thing works. But now, you see where the whole thing, actually becomes beautiful is that the row number and the column number can be replaced with a match that drives that row and the column of whatever you want to put. Take, for instance, you have entries for rows. You can call out match in this row argument. If you have entries or whatever thing you have to do with columns, you can call out this column argument. We'll see an example. First of all, let's see how this one works, okay? Now for this one, let's put it here. Now we only want to see, this is just a single criteria, okay? We only want to see equals index. Sorry for that. This is equals index, okay? And then the tab, the array is where we want to see these cells, and cells is under this color, all right, for this example. So we select the whole of this. Now remember that I selected only one column does not mean that every function or everything you use index for is only going to be one column. You will see you will see the examples we're going to be having next, how we select multiple areas or cells, right? So for this one, which is the array, comma, and the next thing is the row, which means we want to deal with these ones, and then you can call in the match function. Now the match function basically allows you to put in a lookup value, because index by itself or on its own does not have a lookup value, and that lookup value is the country Portugal. So which means whatever you have in this cell is going to be what you're searching for. You can do a data validation here to pull out all the countries you have, unique countries you have in this list. But then let's go straight and see what happens. Now selecting Portugal, comma, the lookup array, which means where do you want to find Portugal? Of course, that will be under countries, and you select the whole of these countries here. Okay, that's very simple. And then next, comma, which means now you have to choose what you want. Basically, all the time, naturally, just choose the 0, which is exact match. Return exactly what it is, and then you can close this and close again, and then enter. That returns 65468. That's because Portugal has that number. So this is what it has returned. For country Portugal says that we've made for this country is 65,468, and that's what you have here. Then if you come here to check, let's change this to Spain and enter. You see it changes, and that is 92799. So you see what it's doing. It is pulling out. Now, I said the difference between your index and match and VLOOKUP is that VLOOKUP is a one-directional, search, and you must begin the search from the left to your right. You can't do it otherwise, else it will throw an error. That is the difference. Okay.
To have more understanding of what you have just watched now, you should register for our next virtual classes. There, you get to ask questions in real time, work on real-world problems, and also gain in-depth knowledge to what you are being taught. There are so many opportunities arising in data analysis, and I'm sure you don't want to miss out of it. Register today, and I'll see you in class.